All right, Coast to Coast Combat Hour. Ed Carvajal and Matt Hawkins here with Fernando Gonzalez once again, who's got a fight coming up June 8th. ACA, what is it, 96?
Yeah, ACA 96 in Poland.
Poland. Man, you like going to that side of the world to fight.
The next four fights, man, they're gonna be overseas, so I'm excited about that, and I hope it's better than that England one in the beginning. But either way, man, it's a learning experience, and I definitely grew as a fighter from that one.
Have you ever been to Poland before?
Nah, never. I mean, I barely any other place that I've gone outside of the country is just from fighting. So, yeah, I've been fortunate at least as far as the fighting to be able to travel.
Well, I appreciate you taking some time to talk about the fight, man. Like I told you when I messaged you, I had only just found out before the Memorial Day weekend about your fight. So, and I know you're leaving soon for it. We're grabbing you just outside after training. So, I appreciate you taking the time. So, your opponent, Elias Silverio, what do you know about him as far as like what he brings to the table for fight night?
He's a UFC veteran. He actually beat was it Valley Flag back in the day or in the UFC. I think he had like 6 fights or something like that. But his last two are the ones that he lost, and I think that's what got him cut. But shit, man, I've been watching. Obviously, I have Fight Pass, so I went back and looked at some of his fights, and the two that he lost were scrapped. So he barely lost those fights. So for me, his style is very similar to Zaromskis, or how I prepared for Zaromskis. High volume and punching and kicking, and obviously some jiu-jitsu. But the only time I ever seen him really try his jiu-jitsu is when he's in trouble. So for the most part, he likes to strike.
So does he present more of a challenge because of what you've seen as far as like, you just said he likes to scrap. I know you like to throw hands too. So I mean, are we to expect like a bloodbath, a brawl with between you two?
I mean, I would say that's what you can expect. You know, you never know what you're gonna get in a fight.
Yeah,
Sometimes stylistically, when you have two strikers and it ends up being a grappling match, you know, you never know. He's Brazilian, you know, so he has jiu-jitsu. But from what I've seen, I expect a striking battle. You know, I expect him to come in throwing. Like I said, I think it's going to be very similar to the Zaromskis fight. And you know, from what I've seen in some of the fights, he'll do takedowns, but they're you know, they're not like Olympic wrestling takedowns. You
yeah,
know, they're
yeah.
they're. I mean, obviously he can catch you slipping. He gets guys slipping, but I think for the most part it should be on the feet. Even if he gets me down, I don't see him holding me down.
We talked to you right before your last fight, a victory in California Extreme Fighting against Gabriel Checho. Did you suffer any injuries in that fight, or did you come out of that ready for a next one?
Oh, ready for the next one. I kind of knew I had to. It was going to be that way just because, I mean, the guy has size on me, so I had to stick and move. I use more of my boxing techniques where, you know, like Chavez is more the brawler or those guys that come in more. I have all those. I like using those styles mostly, but with someone who's you don't know how much power he has, then you got to play the boxing game a little more. And once I figured him out, I was able to catch him with some clean overhand lefts. One of them put him down and swept him in like the second or something like that. So it was a lot of getting in and getting out. That's the kind of strategy I typically like to use more for guys that are bigger than me, just to make sure I'm the one landing and not them.
Yeah. Yeah, keep it moving. That makes sense. What about like cardio? Do you think you can I guess it's not so much output when you're moving around and using your footwork, but do you think you can capitalize on cardio against a bigger dude?
Oh, for sure. Mostly the speed and the movement. I think that's what throws them off more, and then that starts to gas them because the panic starts to set, so you're holding your breath more. So that's typically what I start to see with bigger guys. I start to outpoint them, then all of a sudden, big haymakers start coming, and that lets me know that they're getting tired or they're getting frustrated. and it's about time to put them away or catch them when they're making a mistake.
Tapology has your upcoming bout as a 170-pound bout. Is that accurate?
That's accurate. Yeah, we're back down to the welterweight division. Like I said, that's the strategy I'll typically use against bigger guys. Obviously, if they're 180, that's the strategy I'd use more. So I don't like fighting like that. I like being able to stay in the pocket and when they're similar weight, I know they're more my weight. I could take the punch a little more. 185, you never know which one's going to put you out. So you have to play it a little bit smarter when you're fighting guys that are bigger than you. So welterweight's a little bit more where I feel it's my weight. The speed will be there, and I feel my power will be there too.
Historically, you've had a couple issues making weight, whether it's been on you or been on the organization for possibly throwing some shenanigans your way when it comes to the scales and such. I know that stuff's been documented. How's your weight looking? I commented last time I had ran into you at a Bellator weigh-in that you looked like you were in incredible shape. How are you looking before you travel to Poland for this?
So far so good. I'm getting trimmer. I'm not fully vegan, but I pretty much went vegan. I mean, obviously I started taking some protein, so not full vegan, but pretty much cut out all my carbs. So it's shedding off now. I mean, shedding off really well, and my energy's there. So the only thing that sucks is that it doesn't taste good. But
Yeah.
other than that, I'm fine. I have a lot of energy. So right now I'm just looking forward to making the weight, and that way I can eat regular food. But right now everything's moving well, so I'm happy with that.
That's a hell of a question to ask, Matt, right just after Memorial Day weekend.
Oh, dude.
Well, we talked to Virgil Zwicker, and his interviews will be running here for us too. But and he was kind of the opposite. He's trying to get down to 205. He fights the same night as you in Latvia, and he was mentioning that he's doing his best to get as low as he can, so that once he gets to Latvia, he likes to enjoy some of the foreign food and feel like he's kind of taking in some of the culture while he's there. But you being a vegan, that might be a little different than having some pigs show up or sheep or goat showing up on the table from some farmer in Latvia or Poland.
Yeah, I'll keep it as basic as I can. Some chicken or some that I know is not gonna tear up my stomach too badly. But yeah, right now, like I said, man, I'm focused this year. Or the next couple of years that I have left in fighting, the time's ticking. So I'm doing everything that I can to make sure that I'm making good money and I'm putting on good shows, so that way they keep having me back and stretch out my career as long as I can.
So I know I asked you this the last time we had you on, but do you pretty much have it down to a system now with going overseas to fight, as far as like acclimating your mind and your body to be awake at the time you're going to fight and the time difference? And I mean, I assume that goes along with the diet and everything, right?
It does, but the thing is, it's the way we've always kind of done that. So like when Dan Henderson used to fight in Pride and all that, it's when I came on board with him.
Okay.
So we've always done morning practice. So it would be around the time that he'd be fighting out there, and we've always kept that. And so like we do two practices really. I do one in the morning, which is the whole team. Dan comes in, works with us, and it's the core group basically in the morning. And then in the evening, it's all of us kind of broken up doing classes, but we all get to work with each other and the guys that are coming up. So there's two practices really, but the main practice is in the morning, which is overseas their night. So it's always around the time that I'm fighting. It pretty much has been my schedule for fighting for the last 10 years. So it's almost been geared or guided towards fighting overseas.
When do you head out to Poland? How long are you giving yourself to acclimate to just being out there?
Yeah, normally for that, what I've kind of feel the best is we're gonna take off Tuesday. So as soon as I get there, I try to knock out as much as I can, even if it's daytime, and it kind of like cycles my body back to or regulates it to the time that's there. Because what I noticed one time I flew out, uh, I had to cut weight, and I got there and I started cutting weight, and nothing was coming off. Absolutely nothing. I was in there in the sauna, and just like barely anything was coming off my face. I was getting more just from the heat, than actual sweat. So uh, I took a nap and then came back, and I was sweating like bullets. You know what I mean? So I learned that as soon as I get there, try to knock out so that way my body can sweat. And then as I'm going, my body will acclimate. I know how to fight it regardless. So whether I'm sleepy or not, once my adrenaline gets going, the guy's gonna be swinging at me. I'll be ready to go. I just got to make sure that weight's on point.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I remember reading somewhere too that you can reset your own circadian rhythm or your clock when you go to a new place by physically exhausting yourself as soon as you get there. So given that you're obviously you're going to be cutting weight and stuff, that's probably going to make it just easier to acclimate once you I mean, like you said, you're used to it already anyway. But I just hope like I remember when you first, I forget what fight it was that you went over to I think it was in Russia or someplace when you had all those delays and stuff.
England.
Yeah, you cataloged it on social media. So I mean, thank God that hasn't happened again. But I would imagine that messes with you.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. From that experience, there's been certain things in my career that has always helped me to kind of grow as a fighter. The first time or these are things that happen in the amateurs, but or in the smaller leagues, or like King of the Cage and Gladiators, where guys opponents fall out the day of, you know, and then
Hmm.
you're fighting this other guy, and he's like 6'4", and you got to come up with a game plan to beat the guy because you have your whole family and crowd there already and paid money for those tickets. So those are experiences that you kind of learn, and I've flown overseas before, and I never had the problem of the delays and all that happened on like this last fight, or that fight that happened in England. And at one point, I kind of was like, I just, like you tear up a little bit because you're pissed off of the
Yeah,
shit that's pulling. Um, our luggage passed the first time. We went to load it on the next luggage, and then we have to pay $50 to put that one in that plane because they're not going to approve it. And this is
yeah,
after a whole day, so all that shit's already ticked off, and then they're charging you an extra $50, and you barely have any cash, so you're going, it got to me to the point where it ticked me off, where
yeah,
I picked up, I went to a little corner, sucked it up, and calmed down, and I grew from it. I became a little more calm once I was on the airplane flying there. Nothing else was in my head. There was absolutely nothing that was bothering me, um, because I had already just experienced that.
yeah.
I know, as if it happens again, I would know how to deal with it better this time around. I pray that it doesn't, but
No, yeah, me too.
with it, things are gonna happen, and the more you kind of get ticked off, it's gonna mess with you more. So that's just the way I see it, as far as law of attraction and stuff like that. I
Yeah,
believe
yeah.
in that.
You
Uh,
mentioned you mentioned your next four fights. We're going to be doing some traveling. Does that mean you have a 4-fight deal with ACA? Did you sign a long term deal with them, or is it fight by fight up to 4 fights, or how does that work?
well, originally had 6 fights with ACB, and then when everything switched, I didn't want to get stuck in for that long like we did last time, and so I did 4 months. Because it took us almost a year. I think it was 9 months before they actually had. I think I'm the first American on the card for this one, so or the only American on the card for this fight. So it wasn't like they were giving the guys over here a whole lot of fights and stuff. It wasn't just me. It's pretty much everybody that was signed through the state. Um, so I didn't want to get stuck for 6 fights. I said, let's do 4, and within a certain amount of time. And if that doesn't happen, then we have the option of taking off. And so far so good. They agreed to it, and yeah, everything looks good. They've from the last time to this time, everything has been taken care of a lot quicker, and I've been really, really happy with how they've been going about it this time.
Do they kind of give you a layout of I mean, I don't know exactly how it works, but do they give you a layout of like ideally when they would want you to fight and where? I mean, do you have any idea anything beyond this fight, or is it just? I mean, obviously not mentally as far as who you're going to fight and stuff like that, but do they kind of give you an idea? Like, will it be in like October ideally, and then February, or is it wait and see after every fight?
Normally, the way they have it scheduled, it should be every 4 months. So if I go out there and I fight, no injuries happen, just like this last fight, I'll be fighting again in like 4 months, 4 to 5 months. From what I understand, it's 4. If I take an injury, then it's up to me to decide when to come back, and then from there, they'll try to schedule me every 4 months. So, yeah, I'm just praying everything goes good. We both walk in and out of there safely, and I get my hand raised. I get the finish, and I hope I connect enough where it's like that one punch knockout and walk away. But like I said, I'm expecting a war, and I train for it. So whatever comes, I'll be ready.
So what does Fernando do in the meantime? Like, when you say you get through this fight, you win, and then you got 4 months. What does Fernando do to kill time? What do you do for fun? What do you do outside of fighting? What occupies your mind?
Well, for the past year, I've been really watching my money, so we'll have some good cash coming from this fight and the ones that coming after. But maybe just go get a little spot on the beach and rent a room, take my wife and my son, and just kind of chill and hang out. We're more quiet people anyway, so I think the beach and hanging out with family like that will be fun for me. And like I said, I'm not trying to spend too much money. I gotta start planning for my retirement.
Yeah, man, we all do. We all do. So like you guys do like you got any movies or anything you and your family want to go see? Like, are you looking forward to it or any Hollywood blockbusters? Did you go see the Avengers?
Yeah. We that's one. I mean, we always try to do that. Go
Yeah.
out. Like, we're not spending a whole lot of money, then we'll go do it. But I think more that we've been needing is a vacation to go, just take
Yeah.
off, go to a beach, go somewhere. You know what I mean? And when I say beach, it might be like Hawaii.
Oh yeah, word, man. That's
Take off. Like, well, I don't want to be home. I don't want to be around here for a little bit, at least a day or a couple weeks,
I hear
whatever
that.
you can afford. But yeah, man, I'm looking forward to that. But at the same time, more so just I'm focused on this guy because he's no joke, man. He's
Yeah.
Obviously a UFC veteran, so if I beat him, that's a really good notch on the belt, And the guys that he fought were no joke. The guys that he lost to, he barely lost to, and they're no joke. They're competitors in the UFC now, so it's going to be a great fight.
When how many obviously traveling halfway across the world and on a card, I'm looking at it, looks like Tony Johnson Jr., who's in the main event for the heavyweight title, is the only other American on the card. How many people do they allow to fly? I'm sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, I didn't know there was another one. I said that earlier.
Yeah, no, he looks like he's the only other one. He did fight at ACA, I think 92 or a couple events back, but and he had his notable draw with Alexander Emelianenko for another fight organization.
Oh, yeah.
How many people do they allow to travel out? Like, what is your contract? Is it? I mean, you talk about like, just one other person with you.
One guy, yeah. It's just rough. I normally have 3 guys.
Oh,
so
wow.
that's I normally have 3 guys. So the good thing is even though I gotta pay for it, it's coming out of my pay. They're the ones booking it. You know what I mean? And then they'll just take it out of my pay. I don't actually have to come up with it out front. So that was kind of cool that they paid for one other flight. They were gonna pay for 2, but one of my main cornermen couldn't get his passport in time before they bought the ticket. So after that, we just said, all right, no worries. We'll get one for the next one. And we just been preparing and making sure that we're ready for this fight.
That's cool, man. Well, So it's June 8th. I don't know what time it is our time. I mean, or my time. Obviously, me and Matt are 3 hours apart. But June 8th on ACA 96. That they stream the event through their website. Is that correct?
I believe so, through the website and through Fight TV or Fight app, FITE app.
I'll have to
Okay,
look
yeah,
into that
I know
one.
they used to be on that. Yeah, I have to follow up on that. I'm showing 2 p.m. Eastern time on Saturday, June 8th, according to Tapology. So I don't know if that's the main card or the prelims. I know they really don't have a prelim card. It's kind of usually a pretty stacked card from start to finish, and this one looks like it with guys Andre Winner, former Ultimate Fighter, obviously Fernando, Luke Barnett, another UFC fighter, Diego Brandel versus Marcin Held, which is a hell of a lightweight fight, and then I mentioned and then Peter Strauss, who you fought in your ACA or ACB at the time debut to a really close fight. He's the co-main event, and then Tony Johnson in the main event. So it's another loaded card. I historically I think their pay-per-views have been like, I mean, when it was through their website, I think it was like $3.99 or $2.99. So it was a real good deal if for usually loaded fight cards. So this is no different. Fernando, you want to throw out your Twitter handle or Instagram or anything like that, or any sponsors?
Yeah, you guys can follow me at Menifee Maniac. My sponsors, CVAC, who helped me with my strength, with my conditioning and my recovery. Dr. Toy Chiropractic. He's been with me since 10th grade, so that's
Oh
that's
wow.
awesome. He's very good chiropractor. So he keeps me healthy pretty much all season or all year. Um, shoot, let me think. The plastering, R&R roofing, and Heritage Tattoo. They've been with me since the beginning, and yeah, they're still with me. They're the ones going with me overseas. So
Nice.
I'm pumped, and thank you for being with me.
Absolutely. Well, we'll be cheering for you June 8th, live from Lodz, Poland. So have safe travels, and best to you in the fight, and hopefully you get a big win and come out healthy and get that title before sooner than later, I should say.
Yeah.
I'm hoping, man. There's some tough guys, but I know I'm going for that title, so I got to get that belt. And man, there's some tough guys. I've been watching the 70s, the guys from 170 right now in ACA, and there's some fun fights ahead of me. So this is the first one, and like I said, I've been training my ass, so I'm planning on making a statement with Elias, and obviously it's gonna be a fun fight. So stay tuned.
Yeah,
All
man.
right.
Let them know how we do in the West Coast of the United States. All right,
Yeah,
man.
man.
All right. Take it easy for now.